My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So that's why I started this podcast, Become Remarkable, to bring you people from all over the world, whether entrepreneurs or not, to talk about their story, their journey, who they are, and why they're doing what they're doing. Today I have with me Zachery Williams, all the way from San Diego in California. So please, Zachery, tell the world, who are you, what's your story, and why are you doing what you're doing?
Hey guys, all right. Well, I'm doing what I am doing. My purpose, I'm not going to lie, my purpose is to get very wealthy and to make the people around me wealthy, like everyone's purpose should be. I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist. I believe that people should be honest with their purposes. That's what Mughat and First Again have taught me over on steamspeak.com, over on Steam, Discord chat. And that is what I've learned recently, that you have to be honest with yourself about, you want to make money, you want to help the people around you make that money. But my real big purpose right now is to really get an insta karma type system set up with Steemit, where I've done things like I'd go find a person in my neighborhood who's homeless, give them $5, take a picture with them after asking them if they want to be, and then I'd make like $20 off that post to prove to people that you could make money off of giving it to other people. And yeah, of course, I want to make money with crypto. I want to help make crypto businesses. I want to. I feel that, okay, for example, I have a group of around 4 or 5 Steemit users in Africa, in West Africa, in Ghana, Nigeria, and with the help of a Steemit whale named the Johal Files and a few other whales on Steemit, I was able to help them get their first $1,000 posts. So that they logged in one day and saw that they'd been posting about getting people in Africa onto the internet, getting people in Africa into entrepreneurship, into getting them into making money, and I got them their first $1,000 post. At the same time, I got like a $900 on my post, and this was a post called Operation Upgrade Africa on Steemit. Now, I don't want to be one of these guys. It's all, oh, let's all save the world. Oh, let's go help Africa. No. I want to show people that Africa is profitable, that we can help people in Africa help themselves. Like, for example, I'm all about, okay, I started getting into crypto, to be honest, in 2009 when my friend, an old hacker who passed away named Dennis Coolio, Dennis Moran. If you look on Wikipedia, you can find him under Dennis Moran, computer criminal. He sent me my first half of Bitcoin in 2009, late 2009, back when we didn't know what was going to happen. I remember him being so happy and ecstatic, sending me this thing, telling me how, he told me, it's almost like a scam, but it's not because it's so limited. He told me it's computer based, it's cryptography based. You need to mine it as much as you can because, it's such a good idea. And he unfortunately passed away in 2014 from a heroin overdose. It might have been that, he saw the world as being a little too gloom and everything. Anyway, this Coolio guy, he did shut down. He's close to shutting down the entire internet in 2001. If you look on his history, he was arrested for hacking into the military, for hacking into, I think it was eBay, Amazon, Microsoft. He hacked into the Dare website and actually put up a picture that said, "Drugs are fun, do drugs, kids," and it's hilarious shit. He ended up getting caught by a Stanford security guy on IRC because people were bragging about it. And yeah, I really miss my friend. He invited me onto this IRC chat called the Lysam. Lysam.org. It was a pound love. This was the channel, and he saw me in the Dextroverse, which was a channel about doing DXM or robo tripping. It's a drug, but it's doing a bunch of cough syrup recreationally. It's related to ketamine or to PCP. It's a dissociative psychedelic. It's a way you can really go into your mind. It's not about euphoria or pleasure. It is, but it's more about tripping out and going into your mind. I was into that stuff as a teenager. That's taught me as much as I can now. The point I'm trying to make is that Dennis, he saw me on those chats. He invited me into those chat rooms, and he got me into cryptocurrency a long time ago. Now, to be honest, all my friends were in it. I gave that half a Bitcoin to my other friend in 2009 and beginning of 2010 when they were still only worth about like $1 or something. And I gave it to my friend because it was no big deal. I think there is a little bit of Bitcoin left on one of my old hard drives, but I'm just going to let it sit there. The point I'm trying to make with that is there was a guy named Quakers that I knew on that chat room too. He developed the dating algorithm for Zeusk, and I remember he licensed that and was able to buy a house. So. And I remember it's very funny because I got my friend an Amero coin, a North American Union little coin on eBay, and I gave that to him. And I remember there was some Bitcoins. But anyway, the whole point was that in 2015, I got back into Bitcoin again. and I got my identity stolen by a guy named yeah, I won't say his name. We figured out who he was, and I'm pretty sure he already went to jail. But this guy, Joseph Yakubian, he was stealing everybody's identity back then. Yeah, he impersonated me on Reddit. He got a name that looked just like mine. He was trying to screw people over as me. Anyway, that's a whole thing. That's all done with. And that's what got me into Bitcoin for real. Because in 2015, I was like selling Bitcoin on eBay for PayPal. And like months later, I sold like a few $1,000s worth of Bitcoin. And then like a month later, it was all taken out of my PayPal account because the people I sold it to claimed they never got it. I learned a hard lesson about chargebacks and how if you have a credit card or PayPal, you can't guarantee you get paid the money. You know, someone can send you money and then claim they never got it. So anyway, I was real naive. I was, you know, I didn't know what I was doing back then. And I realized though that Bitcoin is amazing because, and I got into a Bitcoin clubs here. I met one of the first guys who had one of the first Bitcoin ATMs. Well, at least that's what the news said, the San Diego News. I forget his name, but he if you look on YouTube and you look up San Diego first Bitcoin ATM, you will find this guy, Michael, I think. He's probably very wealthy now. Anyway, he had a Bitcoin ATM here in San Diego at a restaurant downtown. He told me he had to remove this Bitcoin ATM because he was basically kind of threatened by the government. They called him or met with him or emailed, something basically along the lines of someone told him he better have a license for transmitting money or he better get that machine out of there. Since then, there's been a lot of new Bitcoin ATMs. I mean, that was 2015. So since then, there's a lot more Bitcoin ATMs. It's very, very easy to buy and sell Bitcoin here. In 2010, I also met a man named Trace Mayer. I was working at Phil's Barbecue, and I was a busser. And at that job, though, I was working my butt off, and I made like $200 guaranteed every night on a 5-hour shift, and that was just from bussing tables. I was pretending to be the waiter. There was no waiters, self-serve. Anyway, I met this guy named Trace Mayer. He was an entrepreneur, an internet marketer, and I overheard him talking at his table and how I am. You know, I don't even care. I'll go to the guy and just, you know, I knew that they're trying to have a private conversation, but I said, hey, are you guys talking about internet marketing? And they were happy to talk to me about it. Trace Mayer is now a very ultra-rich investor. The CoinDesk Telegraph articles about him. He's one of the main investors in Kraken and Bitpay. He basically takes credit, and rightfully so, for helping to start Kraken and Bitpay. And Kraken is one of the big compliant exchanges in the U.S. That's like one of the more legal exchanges that has a lot of. And Bitpay is, of course, the beautiful, beautiful company that makes these beautiful little debit cards right here. I'll just show you the top part. These beautiful little Bitpay debit cards, which have Visa logos on them and actual barcodes, strips. I can use this debit card, any ATM, and get cash out. And it comes with an app, and that app lets you send Bitcoin to it. And that app lets you hold the Bitcoin as Bitcoin. And when you want to top up, you can put some of that money into your card. It actually has a very small fee only when you use an ATM, but it says 0 fees. And I put $100 with Bitcoin, and I get $100 on the card. I'm very surprised more people don't use this service. Anyway, I met Trace Mayer before he got big. I got to meet him, and I'm in the process of trying to email him because I made a video for him about silver. I did it for free, and he was just back before either of us really, were making it. Anyway, Trace Mayer is now very influential, and he is kind of like in the back scenes of Bitcoin right now. He's also very public. He's also on Steemit too. He hasn't been on Steemit for a couple of months. So Trace, if you're listening, you got to get on Steemit, man. Anyway, I'm very lucky to have met Trace Mayer back then because this was before he was really into. If he was into Bitcoin, Bitcoin was like $1. So the point I was making with that was that you always have to network and use email, and you never know who you're going to meet. I was lucky enough to basically become kind of friends and do some free work like an intern for a future billionaire. This guy is almost a billionaire now. I mean, if he's not a billionaire yet, he's definitely a multimillionaire. And you know how easy it is to go from 1,000 to 1,000,000 with Bitcoin. So anyway, I was just watching Grant Cardone on Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez is here in my garage with my Lamborghini. You need knowledge. He's a meme. Tai Lopez, I'm always trying to email him to get onto Steemit. I got a response from his assistant who said I need to go on Snapchat to talk to him. So it's just funny, like he wants to see if someone's got like cool stuff in the background because Snapchat's like video messages. Anyway, he had Grant Cardone on. Grant Cardone is the big, internet entrepreneur. Grant Cardone, right? He's always about 10xing your money. There was a Grant Cardone on Steemit, but a guy named Blue on Steemit on SteamSpeak today brought up a good point, and Blue reminded me that I don't know if that's really Grant Cardone because he's never proved it, and that whoever is using Grant Cardone's name on Steemit is making thousands of dollars. So until we see proof, it might be him, might be his assistant, but that's another thing. Yeah, identity theft. So anyway, I would like to tell you guys about Steem. Steem is the future of cryptocurrency, and here's why. It takes for one Bitcoin transaction, it takes as much electricity as your house in a week. Now, the exact numbers, I have it up here. I believe Bitcoin electricity is around, well, it's in the gigawatts. It's in the hundreds of gigawatts. Now, let's see. Here's an article from spectrum.ieee.org, the International Electronic Engineer. This is the IEEE is some pretty big deal. They're the kings of the electric nerds, basically. So they have an article here about the ridiculous amount of energy it takes to run Bitcoin. Now, their estimate right here is going to be around, let's see, Bitcoin power demanding 20-fold to 14 gigawatts by 2020. So, and this is Dietman, who is a doctoral candidate in industrial ecology in Leiden University, sees Bitcoin power demanding 20-fold to 14 gigawatts by 2020. If that happens, Bitcoin will be using as much electricity as Denmark.
And I think that's the entire network.
Entire Bitcoin network, yes. So are we just going to have the whole country of Denmark using all of its, are we going to be dependent on a system that is that electricity hungry? It's like Chernobyl. Are we going to find a real solution for Chernobyl, or are we going to just keep building sarcophaguses around Chernobyl? You know what I mean? Like in Chernobyl, they have to build the radioactive reactor in Chernobyl that had a meltdown in the 80s. They have to build this big sarcophagus around it. And the new one is just so big, they estimate by the end of the century, it's going to have to be as big as Rhode Island, because there's no solution, just build more and more. So with Bitcoin, are we just going to keep putting as much electricity into it until it's as big as, until it's as much electricity as Denmark? That's a whole country. Imagine all the people you could educate and invest in to develop better software. That we already have it. It's called Steem, Delegated Proof of Stake. Sorry. What do you think about that? What do you think about the how much electricity we're using for? Don't you think that's a little unsustainable, right? To put that much electricity into a banking system, pretty much.
I think electricity-wise and consumption, we'll find a way. We'll figure that out. I'm more conscious of maintaining the infrastructure of the network, insofar as, what if 10% or 1% of the computers that are manning the distribution or the transaction actual processing power, the CPUs, if those get shut down for 10 minutes or an hour a day, what's going to happen to the price or the infrastructure and the flow? What's going to happen? Electricity-wise, I'm not too worried. We'll figure out a way. Denmark's still around and powered. All that really is Denmark spread over the world. So it could just be like Copenhagen every now and then.
Yes. The point, though, is that, okay, I'm not a leftist, but there's a lot of environmentalists out there. Maybe they're not even leftists. You can care about the environment, not be a leftist. But the people who care about the environment, who are in the government, who are responsible for, let's just say, carbon credits or limiting factory because they're, taking up too much electricity. Well, that's like kind of a perfect example. You could use Bitcoin. It's a perfect target. If you wanted to shut down Bitcoin and say, you're using too much electricity, it's bad for the earth, hey, they're going to do that. So that's why we need to use more efficient proof of stake cryptocurrencies. Because what are we doing with proof of work? What are we doing mining our math equation? This keeps getting longer and longer when we never need that. I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's I love it. It's a great system. And I hate to be one of those guys that says Bitcoin's in a peak, because most of those guys are just JP Morgan bankers who just hate Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin's going to go up to 100,000, probably to 1 million. But Steem, if we get Steem into the point where it is as popular as Bitcoin, well, people aren't going to want a proof of work system that just is powerful because of brute force, just all that electricity processing all that power. Well, Visa, MasterCard, they don't use that much electricity, and they have a secure system. Now, it's not as secure as a blockchain, and it's private, and we don't want to trust that. But it's proof that you don't need to put that much electricity into a cryptocurrency blockchain to give it as the security that you want. Steem and delegated proof of stake, that's the solution, because delegated proof of stake is based on proof of stake, of course. Proof of work was first. Proof of work is Bitcoin, Litecoin, all those coins. That was first. Then I believe Peercoin was the first proof of stake coin. Proof of work is a cryptocurrency that gets its value out of doing actual work. Work with a computer, processing power, GPU, with a CPU or GPU, just you're running math equations. And the more math equations you can run, the more value you can get over time. It's not that simple, but it's like that. Proof of stake is like this. Certain amount of coins are made at the beginning. You sometimes, like with Bitcoin, actually, you can have it with both proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of stake, though, for example, certain amount of coins are made and distributed. Then to make more coins, there's no mining in the sense of proof of work. They call it minting. We still call it mining. There's no real definition, but minting, for example, is where you have the coins. Let's say you have a bunch of these Peer coins, and you bought a bunch, and you have them in your staking wallet. Well, the staking wallet will help you make new coins depending on time and how much you had. Now, that's a whole other thing with the proof of time. That's a whole other system we can get into. But proof of stake is just you have coins and you are holding them. Your little QT wallet is actually helping to secure the network. When you're running that little Peercoin proof of stake wallet, staking wallet, you're getting new coins. And there's a formula. Each one's different. But basically, if you hold, let's say you hold one Peercoin, or there might be a limit. Like you have to have like 10,000 Peercoins, right? And over a year, you'll get another, few thousand. Don't quote me on the Peercoin. For example, you have one coin, you hold 10,000 of them, and over a year, you'll get another 5,000 coins, right? So it's kind of like an ROI, but not really, because there's no guarantee that the price will stay the same. But basically, that's how mining works with proof of stake. So you don't need to do proof of work. Sorry, I was going to stretch. You just don't need to do proof of work if you have proof of stake. Proof of work is still a great system, and we needed it first, but it's kind of like how they had early light bulbs that were less efficient, right? They weren't as efficient as the later light bulbs, but we still needed those incandescent bulbs until we made LEDs, right? Like nothing you could do about it. Like we needed proof of work with Bitcoin first to get cryptocurrency off the ground. But once proof of stake starts to get more and more developed, there's no reason to do proof of work. Now, I don't want people to think that their Bitcoins are going to be not valuable. Bitcoin will eventually go to proof of stake. That's a guarantee, because Ethereum is, and EOS is also going to replace Ethereum. I'd love to get into that too. Now I believe Steem will replace Bitcoin. See, Steem is delegated proof of stake. Proof of stake on its own is cool, but delegated proof of stake is even better, because you get to have not only the new coins are not only created by who has the coins. So if you have a bunch of coins, you get to like make new coins just because you're holding on to coins. You don't have to mine. Imagine if you just got to hold the Bitcoin, and by the end of the year, you had like 1.1 Bitcoin just because you held it, Basically, rewarding savers in a way. That's one way to look at it. So the other thing now is that like you have delegated proof of stake. Well, that's not only you get to make the coins by holding them. Yes, on Steem, if you just hold Steem, you do have an opportunity to make more Steem for yourself if you vote yourself. On Steem, it's delegated proof of stake. So you not only make money just from holding the coins, you can make money if someone votes for you. The delegation, the voting, that's the big issue here. And that's what's going to change democracies and education and all around the world. We're going to have bit congresses. We're going to have people, we're going to have people doing all sorts of voting using delegated proof of stake in politics. And big one in politics. Big political thing here. It's going to solve the problem. Remember, the founding fathers of America had a whole plan to make it so if you wanted to vote, you had to be a land owner. Of course, there's big problems with that. You shouldn't have to be a landowner to vote, because people are born at all different opportunity levels, and people can go from rags to riches. But the point of that is to make sure that you can't just have a bunch of people come in from some other country and then take over who don't have a stake in the country. If you have a stake in the system, and you want that system to do good. With Bitcoin, it's not proof of stake, it's proof of work. So if, for example, if Google wanted to just go to China and make a deal with all the miners over there, and that's about 30% of the Bitcoin mining over in China, well, then Google could basically buy out all the Bitcoin miners, and then they get 30%. Now, 51% of the network, that's what you need to do like the whole SegWit2x thing. That's what they were afraid of, a 51% attack. Like if you can get yourself 51% of all the Bitcoin miners, then you could do you could hard fork it and fuck with the system, right? You could do all sorts of things. Well, this is basically what the end of SegWit2x, the No 2x movement, and their success of basically killing the SegWit2x program, the project to hard fork Bitcoin and make it contentious. Well, that's basically what we saw. We saw 6 guys. We have 6 freaking guys stop the fork. I'll show you the picture there. Those 6 guys who stopped that fork, they were node owners, Bitcoin miners. It's okay if you have a small minority on oligopoly if those guys at the top are actually for Bitcoin, because those guys at the top want Bitcoin to do well.
Yeah, you mentioned some interesting points there. Proof of stake in terms of voting with regards to you have to be a landowner. Yeah, I remember hearing this principle, and it's like, well, that makes sense because you have a stake in the country as a whole doing well, and those that could come along from anywhere to have a stake. And similarly, it's where voting, people could argue only allowed to vote if you pay for it. Otherwise it's cheap. You get what you pay for. If it's free, then it's valueless almost, and it can be quite just whatever, frittered away maybe, or not taken seriously enough. And
yes.
You mentioned these Bitpay cards. How do those work exactly? Is it just you put the Bitcoin onto the account, go to any ATM or a contactless, or just like anything else, like just like a credit card? That's all right.
Yes, it's a sorry. Okay, the Bitpay card. The Bitpay card is exactly what you just said. So I'm trying to get the picture to show you. The Bitpay card is a Visa card. And yes, it works exactly on any Visa-enabled ATM. It's, I believe, only for U.S. residents at this point, but you can get. But there's plenty of other options for Europeans. You have the advanced cash cards. You have. I'll give you a link for the advanced cash.
Yes, sort out at the end. But also, I'm very curious because you mentioned it. The miners. I've been doing a bit of research really as another way of investing in cryptocurrency as opposed to just capital gains. What's that? Oh, I see. Yes, we buy Bitcoin, we hold, we run the nodes, we validate the blocks, we give this value. Oh, I see. I see. Interesting.
Yeah, don't F with us. Yes, that's what I was trying to show you. So yes, that's. The Bitcoin. Okay, let me show you a little story about the advanced cash cards.
Sure.
I have a friend in a third world country, and he's a multimillionaire, and he needed to get his Bitcoin debit cards over to him as fast as he could because in Europe they dropped Visa dropped advanced cash, so they had to switch over to Discover or MasterCard. So there's always an option. If Visa wants to play that game, there's always a competitor. They'll be happy to take the money. The point is, we don't need banks, we need debit cards at this point. That Bitpay card I showed you, that Bitpay card is the link that we need because that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of spending that Bitcoin. There's not really a problem with buying the Bitcoin. It's the people have a psychological thing in their head where they're not ready yet for the future. They're planning for disaster, not for the future. Like people who want to buy gold and silver and not have any Bitcoin, well, they're planning for disaster, not for the future. Because I bought silver back in 2009 and it was $50 an ounce, and it's like not even 10. So that's a terrible investment. You would have made so much more. You would have made like 1,000,000% with Bitcoin. So that's why I get mad at those gold and silver guys, because they're really telling people to lose their money. Of course, gold and silver is a great investment. If there's no Bitcoin around, why would you waste your money? Also, people love to laugh and say it's impossible. But when they do start mining asteroids, it's going to plummet the price of gold and silver because we'll have so much of it. The king of in Ghana or whatever, or what is it, not Ghana.
Manamusa?
There's this king in Muslim history where he made his Mecca voyage, and as he made his Mecca voyage, as like 1,000 years ago, he gave out so much.
Yeah, Manamusa.
He got so much gold that the price. Sorry, back to what you're saying though. The advanced cash cards. There's many. Don't just think that it's just the BitPay card. There's the Monaco card. There's a bunch of them. There's also the 10x card. There's I think OMG has a system for payments. Don't worry. The other thing is you can use any prepaid card. Any prepaid card that you can find that is reloadable will allow you to load that card up. Because all you need is someone who has the money and access. Like, for example, American Express has their Serve card. You can send money Serve to Serve. Well, all you have to do is find some guy who sees a value in Bitcoin. You send him the Bitcoin, and he reloads your card for you. There's many ways to do this. There's even, you can even just get a reloadable debit card at your 7-Eleven and load it up using a Shapeshift API. There's a Shapeshift API that even lets you send it Steem, and then it'll automatically convert that Steem to Bitcoin and send that Bitcoin to US dollars and load your card. It doesn't have to be a special card. It can be any debit card. Bank, prepaid, doesn't matter. The point is with those prepaids is that you had someone put money onto the card. That's your money. Doesn't matter if you take it out of an ATM or whatever. They love to make it seem like money is this magic thing that only rich people get to have their hands on. It really is about freedom of money at this point. And when people want to cash out their Bitcoin to buy a house, no, you use the Bitcoin to buy the house. In fact, they're going to make you use crypto to buy houses in the future. You'll have to convert that cash into. Why would I want to accept fiat that could be counterfeit or fake, or used to buy drugs? Who knows if those serial numbers were tagged? What if it was a stolen fiat? So that's going to be the thing in the future. Why would I want to accept this big briefcase full of cash so I could sit there with a pen and test them? Who knows if they're counterfeit? You see, that's how we're going to win against the fiat players. We're going to bring up simple facts like counterfeit money. Why would I want to risk taking counterfeit cash when it's counterfeit? It could be like fiat. It could be counterfeit. So why would I want to risk that? It's liability. With crypto, it's fungible money. You're never going to get a counterfeit Bitcoin, So you're never going to get counterfeit Steem or crypto. So that's another reason why we're going to win. My friend, a story I was telling you about, my friend in a third world country, he needed to get all of his cash out of his cards. So he went and emptied out every ATM in that city. And they were like, what's going on? Is it tourism season? He did it legally, of course. He did it with his prepaid cards. He wanted to get some hard cash. The point is, though, you don't want to get cash. You want to hold on to your money. And if we're going to be sitting there playing for disaster and acting like, something bad could happen, we want to have hard currency or gold in our hands. Well, why even plan for anything? The global economy is going to keep working no matter what happens. Even if there's a nuclear war, people are going to need to buy food. People are going to need to go on Amazon and buy stuff. It's probably even more so if there's a nuclear war. If there's something bad that could happen, well, that's another reason why you should get into making money and saving and economies. And we're going to be building systems that can't go down, like radio frequencies to send Bitcoin. Another thing. When people, we're gonna have radio towers. We're gonna have, the problem with satellites is that the ping, you have to send the signal up, down. So, 10 millisecond ping could be like 40 millisecond ping. So, great for Bitcoin, but not for gaming. The point I'm trying to make though is that, for example, these people always say, what if an EMP comes and breaks up the electricity, right? What if an EMP happens and all the electricity, all the electricity is gonna stop working? What's next? Is fire gonna stop working? Are the internal combustion engines just gonna stop working? Like, no. If an EMP happens, if a solar flare, a CME happens, like the Carrington event, well, that's only half the Earth. Half of the Earth gets it, the other half don't. And also, yes, the electromagnetics comes into the poles. It's not going to, okay, there's also so many people with Faraday cages and keep their computers buried underground now. Though, if that does happen, it'll just create a new system where the guys who had everything backed up will be the new kings. Also, if you have your private keys for Bitcoin, you have it saved. Every week there are nerds who back up the whole Bitcoin blockchain onto DVDs and then bury them. So it's backed up every week, every day probably at this point. You see what I'm saying? Even if there's an EMP, we could reset everything. And as long as you have your private keys, and as long as one person has the blockchain, it can come back. That's the whole thing. It's about a ledger where we decide who has what. That's all it is. It's a fair ledger that can decide and keep track of who actually does have money, not some bank account.
Not somewhat, beg pardon?
Not some bank account that can be manipulated.
Yeah, so a ledger of ownership. Yeah, I never heard of that. People back up their Bitcoin and other coins onto a CD. Is it the same CD that they just update it every week, or is it just piles and piles of CD underground?
You could use rewritable DVD RWs, but yes, no, they well, at this point they're putting it onto solid state drives that are already buried underground, and there's a link that goes to them, and it has an air gap. It has an air gap every time that it's done seeing data. There's an air gap. It literally disconnects the Ethernet cables or whatever cable they're using, or the fiber, so that if there is some sort of power surge, it won't. And also, fiber optic cables won't. They're glass. They're not going to transmit electric surges. They're not going to make an EMP affect them. Now we look at Bitcoin and crypto, and remember, Bitcoin is going to have to either go proof of stake, or it's not going to be as valuable because it's proof of work, and proof of work is unsustainable. Like we talked about, it's taking up all the electricity of Denmark. Steemit can be run on 21 Raspberry Pi computers with about 4 solar panels to run the whole blockchain, to run the whole network. That's how efficient Steem is. And Steem is around a 240 million market cap. There's about 240 million tokens. Yes?
Yeah. Speaking of which, speaking of million, you mentioned it earlier briefly. Bitcoin is only going to go up. I saw McAfee talking about how it'll be 500,000.
Yes, he'll eat his own. You know what? If it doesn't, he says.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I remember the 500,000 bit.
But he said $500,000 by, I believe, 2020. Yes.
Yeah, but how is that? How I believe it, but I can't imagine it. I thought. Yeah,
yes?
Please. What?
No, go ahead. You thought what?
I thought we would be okay. We're recording this in early mid-November 2017.
Yes.
The 9th or 10th, and I thought that Bitcoin would be around 3,000 by end of 2017. By Christmas 2017-18. I was wrong about that. I think now it could go as high as $15,000 by December or end of December, New Year 17-18. But I think in the grand scheme of things, that's very modest, and that's very cheap as well.
Yes.
And if McAfee's saying 500,000 by 2020 odd, then this is like pittance. It's like chicken change.
It is. Just make sure that you're invested in EOS and invested in Steem. EOS is going to replace Ethereum. Ethereum is already obsolete. EOS comes out in June. Ethereum is not going to have its plasma update for 2 years. What the fuck are they talking? 2 years, dude. This is crypto. That's like 100 years. EOS. I bought my EOS at 50 cents and 70 cents, and it's like over $1 now. I got over 900 EOS. And I'm going to probably give out more. I gave out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different EOS tokens, and they're like 50, 70 cents each. Different people on Steem and on the steamspeak.com Discord chat, which is the 24/7 Golos and Steem crypto jam chat, created by First Again and Inertia. And those guys on Steemit. EOS is going to make you more money probably than Bitcoin. Because EOS stands for EOS operating system. It's a little joke like the GNU. GNU is not Unix. It's also going to be basically just be it's like a self-referential joke. It's created by Dan Larimer, the inventor of BitShares and Steem. He is a real genius. He's a real genius. He is. EOS will have its own storage called EOS Storage. It's going to host itself.
Okay, interesting.
And EOS is the Ethereum of the future. Ethereum is like so broken and like fucked up, and you can't work on a moving engine. You can't stop an engine to take it apart. There's so many million. There's like 40 billion worth of Ethereum, and that's like 30 billion of it is probably the ICOs or half of whatever. Billions are in the ICOs, and if they break Ethereum, all those people's money is just down the toilets. I mean, there's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be all sorts of shit. I mean, Ethereum has a problem because, for example, during the ICO craze in the summer, still going on, really, Ethereum was slowed down. It couldn't handle more than a certain amount of transactions every second. It's very irresponsible of Vitalik Buterin to release a program like that with limitations to how it had, and then to not admit it. He won't admit it. He won't admit that he developed an inferior product. Dan Larimer's product, EOS, it gets stronger as you use it more. It doesn't have the same limitations as Ethereum. It also is going to have sub-second confirmation times. It's also very much ahead of schedule. That's why they released some information about it's ahead of schedule. And when Dan Larimer and his EOS team release information, it's real information. I mean, he even talks about how they're going to have support for Apple's secure enclave protocol, which is like super security, because Apple users, they love to feel like they're secure. When they went so far as during the Trump campaign administration during the Trump campaign, they went so far as to convincing somebody to tell Trump to just make that comment about how Apple should just give up the information, because they're trying to make it seem like Apple's so secure. They don't. Come on, don't give me a break. They already work with the government. They're just trying to make it look like, ooh, the NSA wants Apple to give up the information. That must mean that Apple's really, really secure. Come on, it's like, hey, it is more secure. Apple is more secure. It's a great. I've realized that now, and you can realize that by all the top guys, the smartest guys in the room. They all use either Macs or Linux, but the whole point of Mac is that like there's always a guy in a room being paid by Apple to figure out how to fix the exploits and stuff. And it is true what Microsoft used to say about you can't trust Linux because who's gonna fix the problem on software that's free? That was one of the old '90s Microsoft lawsuit stuff. Oh, and by the way, Steam is if you look at Adept on Steemit, ADEPT, he's now promoting it's called Zanzibar, Project Zanzibar, the longest running vaporware software project of all time. It's like 40, 50 years in the making. Zanzibar is, Xanadu, I'm sorry, not Zanzibar, what am I thinking? Xanadu, Project Xanadu. It's basically the replacement for the World Wide Web. Because, yeah, and it's 50 years in the making. And Steam is Project Xanadu because there's like 17 different rules that it has to follow. And it's like, Xanadu is basically this. They argue that hypertext links and World Wide Web is like paper. It's like, old school papyrus. It's dead. Now, the whole point of hyperlinks is you can link back and forth between the text, right? Project Xanadu, it looks like this. I'll just show you here. It actually has like different, let's see, come on.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, Xanadu has this whole thing where you can actually see all the pages of the website as they're linked to each other. So you see a line going from one, going to the other. Let me just get a picture. And this is like basically, okay, the reason we know that the creators of Steemit are into this project Xanadu is because Adept found out that Ned, the CEO of Steemit, had in his profile a quote from an old poem about Kublai Khan and his pleasure dome, and it says something about a vision within a dream, and then something about Xanadu. And I'm just trying to get the picture here, and let's see. There's just a picture of basically a bunch of hypertext links linked to each other.
Oh, while you find that picture, I'm just very curious.
Yes.
EOS coin. Could you be able to hold that on Exodus wallet?
Of course, that's how I hold it.
Oh, very good. Oh. Yeah, I heard about Exodus recently, and it looks really good. It looks very universal.
You can hold your EOS on one of these babies too, on any Ethereum hardware wallet that you own the private keys for. You can hold EOS, because don't get confused. EOS is indeed an ERC20 Ethereum token, like all the ICOs. You could run Ethereum on EOS. You can run EOS on Ethereum, but you don't want to run EOS on Ethereum. They're going to be running Ethereum on EOS. You don't run what's it called? You don't run Windows XP. You don't run Windows 7 in a virtual machine inside Windows XP.
No.
You run Windows XP inside Windows 7.
And that device around your neck is a hardware wallet, you say?
Yeah, this is a Ledger Nano. I got this from what's his name? He's a guy from the ad that I put up, the Craigslist ad I put up for San Diego, telling people they can come and get Steemit information and Bitcoin information, and all for free. Just pay me if you make some money. And what's this guy? Silverbit on Steemit. Yeah, he sent me this baby, and yeah, this can do Bitcoin, Ethereum, any of the ERC20 tokens. It can do, so it can do so many. The list is crazy. And I love doing this. I love using this. I love using Exodus. And but for example, Steem is going to have our own decentralized exchange. So let me show you the roadmap here.
Oh,
okay,
interesting.
So
yeah, please.
So you have Steem and you have the hard fork. Okay, I'll tell you that when we get the picture up, because that's going to be a really important picture to understand here. Oh, here's Project Xanadu. Okay. So this is it right here. Oh, here's an old picture. You can see. I'll just show you this. So okay. Do you see that? How there's all the different lines going to each page and everything?
Yes. Yeah, interesting. A real breakdown. Huh.
And then here, check this out. This is an old black and white picture to show you how old this idea was.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were really, before the internet, they were really trying to figure. Well, the internet, you have to remember, the internet is old. The internet's been around since like technically the 50s or 60s. The World Wide Web, that's what was invented by Tim Berners-Lee in the late 80s. That's what we think of as the internet, and why Project Xanadu or Steem is going to be so important. And Project Xanadu is basically Steem now. And see all the little lines are okay, so
interesting.
Yeah, see all the guys? Look at that picture right there, the guy with like virtual reality goggles from the 60s or whatever.
Huh. Oh yes, I see the bottom left corner. Yeah, crazy.
The hell is that?
I heard that when you watch or read sci-fi films or novels, you're really looking into the future.
Yeah, these guys are looking into the future. Look at that! I just saw this just now. This is why I get into the history of all that stuff. Oh yeah, when you're doing sci-fi, Arthur C. Clarke said, any science that's far off enough is indistinguishable from magic. Yeah, I can get into the alien stuff if you want one day.
Well, there's always another time, but I want to go back a little bit, because you mentioned that people are slow to adopt Bitcoin, and people are viewing it more as an investment as opposed to like a currency to spend or day-to-day expenses and liabilities. I saw a quick article on, I think, NBC, not too sure which one, MSNBC, about the Bitcoin. There's the new law in Japan, and Bitcoin is...
Oh, that was CNBC. It was a video that said, now that Bitcoin's legal, now what? Yes. And that was like 4 days ago. And
they were following this Japanese blogger around, and she said like 5% of her expenses are done in the Bitcoin, 95% is the fiat. And it's getting a lot of traction there. Like a third of the consumer spending of Bitcoin is done in Japan. And I didn't know this thing what you said about that. A third of the mining is in China as well. So it's interesting. So what do you think about the adoption of Bitcoin as like a currency, as a day-to-day use, rather than a speculation or trading or swing trading kind of thing, or capital gains? What's your thoughts?
Well, okay, for example, I'm using Steemit right here. Steemit is what's going to be used for day-to-day currency and stuff like that, because it's zero transaction fees. Not like Litecoin where it's 0.001. Not like any of the other things. Not like Bitcoin Cash where it's really small but it's still something. No. Zero transaction fees. You can't compete with that. Now, of course, Steem has its own little browser now, and we're going to have the Zapple app made by Dagan Sloth. That Zapple app should be the first to have a mobile Steem wallet. Now, we're also going to have Steem wallets inside of Exodus. There is a wallet right now called Vessel, made by Jesta. Vessel is a beautiful wallet it's a program, a desktop program for Steem. And when you give it your private keys, you give it the private keys, it doesn't go anywhere. You get to fucking do all sorts of cool things like delegate your Steem power. You can power down, you can send the Steem, and you can even generate Steem private keys. The point of that is that when you have your own Vessel wallet on your hard drive, on your computer, that is one step away from having Steem wallets inside of Exodus, and you can then have your Steem wallet inside your here. Now, I already have a Steem wallet right here. It's right in here in my Steemit.com. Here, it's right up there. It's just well, we go back here. But my Steem wallet would be right up here, and I go up to here into my wallet. You know, it's like one of these buttons, and it's just you go to wallet, and then it's all there. Here, I'll get to it.
But what about people adopting Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies in the day-to-day use?
Yes.
The laggards or the late majority.
Okay, we will have debit cards. We'll have debit cards for Steem. We already have Pay with Steem, which is a new project by BTC Venom and some other people. Pay with Steem or Steemit.com/@Pay with Steem. Or just go on Google Pay with Steem. Pay with Steem. It's just how early this is, but how much opportunity there is. I'm personally developing the system to where people will be able to send me Steem or SBD, and then I will send them an Uber or Uber Eats or deliver a pizza to their house or whatever by paying for it with my BitPay debit card. It's that easy. And when I get enough volume, I'll hire a person to take care of it, or we'll have a bot do it. And how it'll work is it'd be a couple ways it work. You send me the Steem or SBD, and then I buy what you want with my card, because this is for people who don't have the BitPay cards. Eventually, we already have it to where you can buy a prepaid debit card anywhere at 7-Eleven, and then you can send your Steem to Shapeshift, and then it sends you dollars to your card. So it's like topping up. Now, eventually, we will have it to where you can just buy stuff directly with the Steem and SBD. You can't do that with Bitcoin because it's $7 right now to make a Bitcoin transaction. $7 freaking. It takes as much as a house for 2 weeks just to do one Bitcoin transaction worth of electricity. So anyway, this is a Bitcoin wallet here. This is my Steem wallet, and it's all public, and you can see all the different transactions I've ever done. It's amazing. And up here you can see my Steem power, my SBD, the total estimated amount. It's all just you can hit the button to do transfer. Now, that's just on a mobile device, so I can send and receive my Steem here. We're gonna have the Zapple app, which will let you send and receive on an app. We also are going to have the ability in the next. Okay, let me show you the next hard fork we're gonna have here. Okay, so we're gonna have it to where you can go and you will be able to exchange Bitcoin, Litecoin, EOS inside Steemit.com. And oh, by the way, Steemit.com is just the front end. Just the front end. The back end is the Steem blockchain. So for example, if Steemit.com went down, you can always go to busy.org or to ChainBB or use the eSteem app or even use the Vessel wallet, desktop wallet. And you can still power down and withdraw your Steem no matter what. It's a blockchain that's always up. It never, ever stops. If the blockchain stops for just 1 hour, 1 minute, fucks everything up. If it can't stop, because then everything's out of sync. So let me just show you the roadmap for Steem here.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
When you said the back end, DTube.
Yes.
DTube came from the back end.
DTube, yes. What about DTube?
You just developed from it like an offshoot. Taking the concept of YouTube, combining it with the Steem blockchain, and you create something different that's completely subverting the mainstream, so to speak.
Yes, this is my Steemit article here about let's see. Yeah, someone sent me $76 randomly in Bitcoin, just randomly. I bought EOS with it, and I think it was Trayvon James on YouTube. He gives out like 0.1 BTC every day on his YouTube. I don't know though. I looked up the Bitcoin, but the point is, when you just put your address out there, you couldn't get magic money. It's amazing. But the point is, here's the this is Firstikin from Steemit. He put together a beautiful little roadmap for Steem, and this is no secret. So let me see if you can get this in there. Is it flashing on your end?
Yeah. Could you please tell about the roadmap, please? Just talk about it. It's flashing, yeah.
Okay. So this is what we were back in last year, the first one. Remember, Steem came out last year, August. Then we have Hard Fork 17 called Simplicity 2, right? So we had Stability number 1. Then we have Hard Fork 17, right? And that's the second one, okay? That's outdated. This version shows malware, bugs, and it crashes. Simplicity 1, cleaning up bugs, rewriting sloppy code. Then we have Simplicity 2. That was earlier this year. And then finally, we had Hard Fork 19 called Equality. Equality it was a great version of stability. Power token delegation, changing from N2, the quadratic, to a linear reward curve, business friendly. Okay, so we were going from quadratic rewards, where the Steemit rewards were on a quadratic curve, to linear curve. What that did was make it so that instead of a few whales at the very top getting thousands of dollars for posts, they would go down to getting a few $100s per post, but then everybody else got like tripled. Like my Steemit stuff tripled overnight. Like my posts that were like $1 went to like $3, and the posts that were like 10 went to like 30, and then the price of Steam just started going up. So that was a smart choice. It was not a sacrifice either, because the people who sacrificed the big rewards in the very beginning ended up making more because the price of Steam went up. Now, let me just go back real quick. Okay, I have to explain how Steemit works. Now, I didn't understand this until I started using it. And oh, and by the way, the new hard fork that's coming out, it's going to have account creation using proof of work. So you'll be able, hard fork 20 on Steam, velocity. This is what's going to make it not a liability anymore to make new accounts. You see, right now on Steam, there's a bottleneck. We can only have a few amount of accounts created every day because it costs money to make those accounts. It costs money on the blockchain. Literally, it costs money to make them because of the way the blockchain is set up. The new hard fork will make it so that you can mine your own accounts using proof of work. So we're going to have proof of work for the account creation. That's actually how TeamSpeak does it. When they create their account for encryption to have your own unique account, you use proof of work. We're not doing proof of work mining for Steam. It's just for the account creation. Now, once we do that, we can spend, there's like a $5 million ready to go. That's the rumor. Can't tell you. It's real. There's like $5 million in Steemit Inc. ready to go for advertising and marketing. That money is going to be put into advertising Steemit Inc. And it hasn't yet because it's still in beta, and it would cost Steemit Inc. money to make a million accounts. Would cost $1 million. So we have it to where the money comes from your CPU. So when you go to make the new account, you're going to have your CPU is just going to mine for you. It'll take 10 or 20 seconds. Even on the shittiest computer, it'll only take max like a minute. Even if you're on like an old 90s computer, it's still going to work. Then you'll get your account for free, and it won't cost the cost we put. We're going to be pushing the cost into this people's CPUs, which are not really using anyway. It's going to be such a win-win-win. We're going to be taking advantage of something people don't even use, a little bit of CPU power, and it's just going to take 10, 20 seconds, and they have their account. Then we can advertise aggressively. Then we'll get that in Instagram and YouTube and Facebook ads. Oh, Steam's going to go up to $10, my friend. And that's not a guess. That's a guarantee from the market makers that I talk to, who literally have like millions of Steam on the Bittrex books. So if you want to make some quick money, get some Steam now. It's the same with EOS. But Steam is about to explode, and it's fine. It's fine. I would rather only the people who've been on there make the money. But let me tell you a little secret. Alex Jones was seen at the Steemit Inc. headquarters, and he got lunch with the CEOs. Alex Jones has been hinting at this. He's been saying that, we have the globalists, and the globalists have their own platforms, and they're trying to kick us off YouTube, and they're trying to kick us off Facebook, and we need our own platforms, and we got something coming, folks. We got something coming. Alex Jones is going to have his own smart media token. So a smart media token is that's hard fork 21. That's the next one. That's the DEX and the hard fork. Oh, cool. It's not blinking. The hard fork 21 is next. First, we have hard fork 20. Hard fork 20 first. That's going to be the new account creations. Hard fork 20, that's probably Christmas, but who knows? I can't make any promises. So people who work at Steemit told me that it's coming. And then we're going to have smart tokens, smart media tokens, SMTs, and the DEX, the decentralized exchange. We will have our own exchange on Steemit, which is already technology we've already had with Open Ledger technology. On OpenLedger.io, which is BitShares, you can buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, any coin you want, even Tether, for very small fees with no ID, nothing. The only problem is there's not much liquidity or volume on there. So you can't sell like a couple $1 million worth of shit at a time if you need to, But there's, for small users, it's perfect. So if you're in Zimbabwe or Russia and you don't have a passport or ID, and you can't go on Bittrex because you can't withdraw money from there unless you have, you can't go on those you can't trade unless you have KYC, know your customer, and AML, anti-money laundering. But some people are just fucked because they're in a third world country, or they're in Russia and they have sanctions. They're not allowed, So that's why BitShares is going to be so important for those people. However, it is a little outdated. We won't really need BitShares, but the token is still great. BitShares is still great because it was created by Dan Larimer. It's great technology, but heard a lot of rumors of how it's a lot dated. So that's why we're going to be using new technology for Steem's the own decentralized exchange, and it's going to be a one-stop shop for all your crypto. So you'll be able to use your Steemit wallet code to do everything, to have all your coins.
Okay, wow, a lot of stuff there. The Alex Jones thing, that's fascinating. And when you say all this, EOS and Steem, yeah, I can see them having a lot of potential in the future. This is some serious, crazy stuff.
Yes.
And Project Xanadu, wow, there's some really interesting, amazing stuff here. Smart media token, wow, what's going on here? We have to. Oh, what's that exactly?
So it's a little USB. This is like very. This is a symbolic of the whole situation. It's an electric lighter that you can light your cigarettes and stuff, or weed or whatever, and it literally charges up with USB. You see that?
Right. Yeah.
So you never run out of gas. You know.
Okay.
It's a plasma. Right. It creates plasma literally. But yeah, no, yeah. Isn't it crazy how we're? Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because we're approaching the hour mark soon, so as we wrap this up, I'm just very curious because people see Bitcoin as an investment for capital gains.
Yes.
And I've been doing a bit of research recently, and I've come across this thing called Genesis mining.
Yes. I'll tell you all about that.
Yeah, please do. I'm very curious about that. Yeah.
My friend seriously did have a problem with them. Very small problem where he wasn't getting a little bit of payouts, but that is literally because they had a real issue. They run massive. You can go on YouTube and look at their farms. They run the biggest altcoin mining farms. They have them in multiple countries. They have one in Iceland, which is really great because it's low electricity, geothermal energy, clean, and it's very cold air, so it's naturally cooling. Genesis mining is not a scam. They do have a referral program. You can make a lot of money pushing referrals, but here's the thing: they only offer now. You know that they're a responsible business because they're not selling Bitcoin mining contracts anymore because they're out of equipment, and for them it's not. They only are selling the rest of their Dash contracts and I think Ethereum and I think Monero. But that's it. So if they were a real scam, you'd think that they would take in as much money as they could, right? But they're limiting their customers to only what they have. Also, every person who's invested in Genesis mining has made their money back. That's simply because when you invest, and I didn't because I found a better deal at pool.bitcoin.com. And I'm not going to give referral links to that because here's the deal with the referral links for pool.bitcoin.com is that to make any money, someone has to buy $18,000 worth of hash rate for you to get 3%. So it's like, dude, no one's going to be doing that. I mean, I'm not that. But the point is, I basically invested like $500 into or $650 into pool.bitcoin.com when they first came out. And I think that was actually Roger Ver and Sean Chong, and it's bitcoin.com. And I'm getting like $5 a day, right? $4 to $5 a day. And that's from 4 terahash. Now with Genesis, I would have had to pay a lot more for that 4 terahash. I wouldn't have been able to get away paying I paid 130 to 150. Now the same deal on that website I got it from, it's like $400 per terahash, and I got them for like 130, 150. So because it was brand new and I knew that it was a good deal, and they said, hey, they basically did it at that low margins to get a massive mining facility, and now they have like 20% of the mining of Bitcoin. They even said that they were going to do SegWit 2x, and they even had a little thing on their website that said, we're going to mine SegWit 2x coin now because the Bitcoin core is not going to survive. They took that shit down, didn't they? Because SegWit did not go through, so they look like idiots doing that. They thought that like they literally thought Bitcoin Core wasn't going to survive and said that you're going to mine what we want. We'll give you the option later if it survives. Anyway, that's a whole nother story with the whole Bitcoin Cash going up now. Anyway, back to what you're saying. Genesis is if you want to promote them and have referral, you can make a lot of money. I would suggest simply promoting Steem, which does not have a referral program yet. But here's how I run referral programs with Steem. I get people to invest in Steem. They make a bunch of money off their posts. They buy Steem Power, and when you buy Steem Power on Steemit, then you can upvote people with money. Like you buy $1,000 worth of Steem Power, your upvotes are worth like 10 cents or whatever, and it goes down like 10 cents. It'll be 9 cents, but it recharges every 5 days. Basically, $20 million worth of Steem has been given out since Steem was created about a year and a couple months ago, like back since the last August. So if you go on Steem.io, it says $20 million. The Steem has an inflation rate. New Steem is created through an inflationary process, but that's how the delegated. It only is created if the stakeholders agree. You see, so stakeholders aren't going to want to decrease the value of Steem by just printing up new Steem unless it's given to people who actually created value. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the actual value of the Steem is controlled by the stakeholders. And if you are a stakeholder, you get to have value in creating that new Steem. You could just upvote your own posts and make money that way, but people are going to notice that. They might flag your posts. It's just up and down vote. So with Steem, you want to make sure, and back to what you're saying, the whole reason with Bitcoin being proof of work and how I say it's going to be unsustainable is because, well, like you said, it's taking up all the Denmark's electricity. It's taking up as much electricity as the country of Denmark. They have to make it proof of stake, and they will. So Bitcoin's still going to go up to, really high levels. People, if they don't go proof of stake, there's going to be a point where people are going to realize that the transaction fees are too high, and they're going to use Steem because it's 0% transaction fees. Sorry, what was the question you asked again, though?
Well, I was just curious.
Right?
Genesis mining and that whole operation.
Yeah, no, it's a great operation, but I guess they reached a peak because they're not offering many new contracts. And they only offer 2-year contracts now. They did have the open-end ones, but I like pool.bitcoin.com because it's a lifetime contract. So I'm going to earn lifetime Bitcoin off pool.bitcoin.com. They are almost out, and you have to join a mailing list to get when they get new ones, and it's way more expensive than what I got. It's still a good deal. You're still going to make your money, but for example, my ROI on that pool.bitcoin.com, it was like 90 days. And so I made my money back after 90 days, and I spent like, 500 or 650 bucks, something like that. And yeah, I made the money back, and now it's just like free money because I'm going to get Bitcoin for life on that. As long as it's profitable. As long as mining is profitable, then you get paid every day. It's a great, crazy. It's like, passive income, like crazy. I've got so many passive income things now that like I need to like hire people to help make more, I got ideas to even like, okay, for example, I give money to the homeless here, and I take a picture with it, and I after asking them, I say, hey, you guys wonder about Steem? And some of these homeless people I know, they recognize me, and I've given them money before. The difference is this time I'll give a guy, and it's on my Steem, you give a guy $5, and then I tell the guy about Steem, say he's going to join Steem, here's what his username's going to be, and then I put it on Steemit, and I'll make like $20. And then so I'll make a post about that and be like, yeah, look at that. I made money off of helping the homeless, and this guy's going to come on Steemit, create more value, and it's like, I deal with a lot of guys like Mughat on SteamSpeak who want to make sure I'm not a socialist. They want to make sure I'm not sacrificing. They're all into this philosophy thing where they're like, well, you don't want to give money to people who don't deserve it. That's what Tai Lopez says. The world is not a crazy enough place to give money to people who don't deserve it. But I really do see certain people as really good to invest in, and there's these guys in Africa, my team, Ghana. Those guys I believed in. I gave one guy 30 SBD so he could pay his phone bill, his data, and get his like 5 gigabytes of data in Ghana, which is a very bad deal, but that's all they got. He ended up getting that $1,000 post, right? And he ended up making me that money back. I gave him that 30 SBD, made a post about it, and made like 60 SBD. So, so I made like, I made some money. I made like, I doubled my money off investing in that guy in Ghana, Africa. So he got his friends on to Steemit, and every person he invited to Steemit, I gave him $1 until he brought like 50 people. I told him I got to stop the program, but he ended up making even more money because he attracted all these people on Steemit. The whale saw that he's so good at bringing people in. He basically was made a representative of Steemit for his country, and now he's just making more than me on Steemit, and he's making thousands of dollars. And it's a perfect story of how we can change the world on Steemit, one person at a time, but 50 people at a time, 1,000 people at a time. Steem has around 400,000 users. We are getting thousands a day. It's going to explode after the next hard fork, because then it won't be a liability to create new accounts. After hard fork 20, we'll have POW mining, proof of work mining for account creation. And like I said, with Steem, here's how it works. You have new Steem being generated. There's an inflation rate. That inflation rate, I think it started at like 30% or 20%. And when you have Steem Power, it takes like 13 weeks to get that back into liquid Steem. So you get paid half. You can either get paid 100% in Steem Power, or you can choose to do 50-50. Half in liquid SBD, half in Steem Power. So let's say you get your first post on Steemit and you make $1,000, right? Well, you get paid 7 days later. After that 7 days, you get your reward. You'll get $500 worth of SBD, which you can immediately convert to Bitcoin and put into cash if you want, whatever. You get the other half in Steem Power. Now, that Steem Power is not liquid until you hit power down, and then every week you're going to get, a 13th of it. Every week you'll get like 13% of what's a 13th of 1,000? You'll get like $80, basically. So that means that people are a little turned off until they see the benefit of having Steem Power. That $1,000 worth of Steem Power will let you upvote, or be 500. That'll give you 5-cent upvotes. So every time you have your friends on Steemit or comments, you can hit that upvote and make their posts go up. Now I know, and when you do upvote someone, you get 25% if you're the high. 25% of every post goes to curators. Curators are people who upvote. So if you are the first guy, like the Joe Hall Files, he upvoted one of my posts and got, or my friend's post, and he got it up to like $900, right, with his one upvote because he's got over 1 million Steam power, over like over $1 million of Steam. Every time he hits that button, the post will go up $900, right? That post ended up on the front page. It kept going up to like $2,000, right? So at the end of the 7 days, that post ended up being over $2,000. And the Joe Hall Files, because he was the #1 curator and had the most Steam power, he ended up getting the majority of the 25% of that post. So when you upvote, you get paid. 25% of all the post money goes back to the top people who actually upvoted it. He makes like over $1,000 a week from curation. You can sit there on Steemit and just upvote all the best stuff. And then if you upvote it first and with a high enough amount, then if that post ends up getting a lot more later, you get a chunk of that. So you can actually make the money off creation. So you're not giving away money because that money comes from your Steam Power awards, which aren't manifested yet until you actually upvote something. You could upvote yourself, but then people don't like that,
Yeah, it's a very fascinating system, and it's after speaking to you here, oh wow, mind more or less blown about the whole thing. And but
yeah, dude, if you want to keep going, a little bit, I'll make you a deal. If you have the time, we can go up. We can extend the interview just a little bit longer. And if you join Steemit, my friend just delegated me some Steam power, and I will give you a couple dollar upvotes on Steam. And for the first 5 listeners, I'll give them a couple dollar upvotes if they join Steam. It's completely free to join Steam, and they can just follow me, hit the button for. They don't have to follow me because I already got like over 3,400 followers or something since March. And if they hit comment and just leave a comment and I'll make a post about this interview when it's all done. Then I'll go upvote their comments, and then they can show other people. The whole point is that Steam's only like less than $1 right now. It's actually down to the Bitrex, so it's like 80 cents, 85 cents. So it's getting low, but it's about to explode because those market makers who I talked to told me, yeah, it's they create a channel and they make sure the price stays in that channel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But as we slowly wrap up though, Zachery, what are you working on now, and what's next for you?
Well, right now, it's just all about promoting Steam. It's about making my marketing system for Instagram. I've got so many things, and I realize I just do the things that make me the happiest, and that really has to do with media. It has to do with helping people make money from, Grant Cardone and Ty Lopez. I love those guys, but they are not on the ground floor. They're out of touch. They're a little out of touch. I'm all about helping people go from zero, like I did back in March, zero to their first $1,000, and then from 1,000 to 10,000. Because once you have 10,000 in this game, you can go to 100,000. And once you're at 100,000, once you're at that Lamborghini level, you can see how easy it is to get to 1 million. Because look at Bitcoin; it went 10x this year already. Bitcoin on some charts was actually $700 at the beginning of this year. If you take it back to like December, let's take it back to December. So in one whole year, it's gone from like 700 to 7,000. So that's 10x. So and if it ends this year at 10,000, well, what's 10x at 10,000? That'll be at the end of next year. It'll go to 100,000. And the whole point is that if everyone holds it, if everyone holds the Bitcoins, then you get like less supply. Like if we just vacuum up the bottom of the Bitcoin, like the Bitcoin falls and you have a limit order on Bitrex, every time Bitcoin goes below 6,000, like it almost went today, you buy it automatically. So you have people just have their orders on Bitrex where it's only buys if Bitcoin goes low, right? It's like if you want to buy cryptocurrency on Bitrex, you just type in the price that you want it for. Be realistic and look at the graph and see where it's gone before. But if it's gone really low at one point, just type in the price that you want. And you have to be patient. You have to just sit back and just wait. First again told me to do this. He told me just buy. He's like, just AXA, just buy, just put the order in for 80 cents. Just put the order in, go to sleep. I did that. I woke up and it had bought the Steam at 82 cents and it was already up to like 95 cents. So I already made a few $100 in my sleep by simply putting in an order for what I wanted. And you just have to wait. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you have all this money with Steam and people are ordering and buying. If you look on Bitrex right now, there are 21.1 million Steam on the order books for people who want to buy it, and that's at all the different prices. But then there's only 2.3 million Steam that people want to sell. So the demand is way bigger. It's like 10 times bigger than the price. The inside information is that there's venture capitalists, there's entrepreneurs who want to get in Steem, and they want to get in at a low price, around 70, 80 cents, all right? So they're keeping the price a little low right now just so that those guys can get in. Once they're in, they can take the price back up and keep it up there. It's the same with Bitcoin. These guys have so much Bitcoin that they can make the markets. They hold the Bitcoin so that there's only a little bit left to play with. So yeah, there's 16 million Bitcoin in circulation. No, there's only like a few million in circulation. And if you look on Bittrex or all the top exchanges, there's only a certain amount for people to play with. And if everyone just refuses to sell their Bitcoins, same with Steem, if we all refuse to sell our Steem, the price just keeps going up. And people say, well, what happens if they all take it out at once? No. The human lifespan is like 70 years on average. People are going to be passing on these cryptos to their children. Humanity is a pyramid scheme. Everyone knows that. You have to keep making new people. That's what this is all about. It's not that Bitcoin or crypto is a Ponzi. No. It's a new technology like cars were to horses, you know. Paper money is the horse, and this is the car. It's going to take over. Crypto is only as good as what people give the value to. Like that picture I showed you, we hold, we make the value. We give this shit value. No F with us. That's so true. The only thing that can happen is if people ditch their Bitcoin for something better. And that thing that's better is Steem and EOS. So all you have to do is make sure you have a little bit of Steem and EOS, and you're safe. And then you can be behind any horse. It doesn't matter which horse you back because you've got them all.
Yeah. Well, Zach, we have to put an end to this podcast. Very fascinating stuff. It was great having you on the show. What's the best way for the audience to get in touch with you? Oh,
just go on to you can just email me or text me. I guess zackza@gmail.com. zackza@gmail.com. Or if you have feel free to text me. I have a Google Voice number set up that's listed on every Steemit post. It's just 619-500-3748. That's 619-500-3748. Feel free to text me. You can call me too, but that's just a text thing. So I don't usually take the calls. So I text people first. And also, I always check me, but that text is better than the email. And also my Steemit, which is steemit.com/@AXA. So that's steemit.com with 2 E's and then / and then the @ and then ACKZA, or just Google Steemit AXA. So Steemit STEEMIT and then AXA ACKZA. I basically do give free financial advice, and I only ask people hook me up if they make money off it. That's what my whole deal is. My Craigslist ad. I have just delegated to myself, my friend, a couple thousand more Steem power, so I can give out dollar up votes at this point, basically.
Yeah, cool.
So your listeners get that deal. When they go comment, when they sign up on Steem, which is free, and they comment on my posts, whatever the post, you just say, "Hi, I saw the interview," and then with Adrian, and I'll give them up votes as long as they just leave a cool comment or a cool picture. That's all it is, and then I'll give them a dollar up vote, and then I'll give them some up votes on their posts. That's the deal, because I know there's not going to be too many people, and I'll be able to hook them up.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll include those details in the show notes below. But Zachery, cool. It was really good to have you on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Call me up anytime.
Yeah, cool. So thanks a lot. And ladies and gentlemen at home, remember, please follow and subscribe to this channel because this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So subscribe and follow.
I'll take you from zero.
Yes.
That's what I did.
Yeah. So subscribe, because you see, this life we have, it's all about there's opportunity out there waiting for you to do it, to take it. And
burn like the plasma.
Yeah. And life is all about being remarkable. So go out there today and do something remarkable with your life. How cool is that? Awesome.